Do that again. Are you super excited?
I'm pumped, man.
Is this
my good side?
So we got Marlin's wood in the booth. We've got the bottom coated already. We're gonna flip this stuff over, mask it up, and get the top sealed up so we can prep that and then lay down some automotive clear. We're gonna show you guys throughout the process kind of how we do this. This is the second time around us doing this. First time was for Manny's truck. So we're gonna lay down the Duratec coating first. And then once that dries, we'll sand it. And we'll lay down probably 5-6 coats of automotive clear on the top of it. So as you can see, if you look close, you might be able to, I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but there's pinholes in the wood and the grain. It's kind of what we're trying to do here is we're laying on this material until it is completely flattened out, or at least 90% to where we think we can DA it. See, it pretty much just looks just like resin. Pretty much what it is. So it's like a clear resin, clear primer, call it what you want, but basically that's pretty much what it acts like. So it's a 2% mix ratio to catalyze it. So we got all the wood coated with the first step, which was the polyester resin coating. We are on to DA and everything down with 400, then 600 grit. Then we're gonna get everything from Marlin's bedwood stuff back in the booth, cleaned up, masked up, and then we'll go in and dab any little fish eyes or any little imperfections we find in it. Just like spraying regular polyester high build primer, you need a gun with a large tip in it to spray the Duratec clear top coat properly. I recommend getting one of these cheapy guns that you can get. It's a 2.5 tip. I think they're like 75 bucks, like throwaway guns. You definitely want to make sure you clean it in between coats, like with lacquer thinner, because it will harden on you, and once it hardens on you, the gun's gonna obviously be no good. This stuff dries pretty quick, just like mixing resin when you're doing like fiberglass work. So the cure time is pretty fast on it. And I mean, this stuff here is just hard as a rock. So we got all of Marlin's wood set up back in the booth after it was prepped. It's all cleaned, ready to go. I've gone through with these cool little plastic dabbers that I have here, and I've dabbed the clear coat in all the little spots that I found so that when I go to clear it, I won't have any imperfections in the wood. It should be nice and smooth and glassy. All right, so we got all of our wood out of the booth. We got everything sanded with 600, knocked out all of our blemishes. So from here, we're gonna start stepping up grits till we get to 3,000. Definitely an important step that I like to do in between stages when I'm sanding is guide coat. This 3M powdered guide coat works really good. After you get your sanding done, you apply this down here, and as you're wet sanding, you'll see the scratch go away. And this works really good in between grits, especially if you're trying to step up grits and maybe cheat a grit. Maybe you're going from 800 to 1200 instead of 800,000, 1200. This will help you see when the scratch is removed. Really a nice trick that I guess not everybody knows, but it's definitely not uncommon in the trade. So today we're trying to get Marlin's all polished out so we can get it sent over to Jeremy. While that's over there, we're going to get the wood finalized, buffed, so we can get that sent over to them so they can get everything put together. As we approach our open house, we're trying to get this thing dialed in and ready for it. So So we got Marlon's wood here up in the office. Got it all glassed out. Just looks absolutely amazing, right? So we started with a resin coating. Laid down, we've approximately 2 gallons between the bottom side and the top side to lock down the wood so that it won't shrink and expand, and so the clear coat won't fall in time and die back. Once we got that part done, we sanded it with a DA and 600 grit. Then we stepped up to 800 grit. Then we put all this stuff back in the paint booth, cleaned it up, masked it up, and laid down 7 coats of House of Color UC35 clear coat. Then from there, we DA sanded it again with 600 guide coat, 800 guide coat, 1000. Then we guide coated it, and we wet sanded it with 1000 up to 3000. Then to buff it, we started with a wool pad. Then we switched to a white foam pad. Then we switched to a black foam pad. And now we're gonna basically spray wax it, make sure it's good to go, checking it up here in the office. And then we'll give it a final paint correction buff each piece as we hand them to Jeremy to install on Marlon's bed next week. So pretty cool stuff. This is only the second time we've done it. We're going to show you guys the products that we used, some of the techniques that we used. There's a lot to it, but not really a lot to it. This is definitely something that you can do at home or in a paint booth. Really, you should be doing it, but this is definitely something that a do-it-yourself person can do. It's not that it's hard, it's just a little bit time consuming. There's not a lot of skill involved in doing this, but I mean the look of it is just incredible, and you'll have the nicest wood out of anybody. Today is an exciting day for me and my wife, Jacqueline. We are on our way to the shop with her Hummer. For those of you who don't know, this is the second Hummer that I have done for her. Her first one was super dope. It was Black Ops. We had it for a couple years. She sold it at Barrett Jackson. Couldn't live without a Hummer, so it broke my heart how sad she was that she missed it. So I got her this Hummer about what, 6 months ago?
Mother's Day present.
Mother's Day present. So anyhow, we're taking this thing to the shop. We're gonna pull the roof rack off of it. We're going to take all the plastics off and refinish them with the bed liner, kind of like the same thing we did on our last Hummer. And we're gonna give this thing more of an aggressive look. A few other extras we're gonna do to it, and hopefully get this thing pimped out for her to where she's happy again. So we got my wife's Hummer down here at the shop, getting this thing all torn apart. We got Artie breaking everything down, getting everything set aside so we can figure out what we're gonna bed line, what paint work we need to do, basically what all we're going to get done to this Hummer here while we have it. We've got it all prepped, we've got it all taped up, sealed to the floor. We're going to mix up a little bit of sealer, spot seal the bare metal on the roof. We're going to mix up some Bulldog, get some Bulldog adhesive promoter sprayed on all the parts in the back that are plastic.
Right here we're pouring some of our Bulldog into a PPS cup so we can spray it out with a normal spray gun. And the adhesion promoter, we're going to spray over all the plastic, so our sealer and bed liner will have something to stick to over all the plastic. House of Color KD, it can be mixed as a primer or a sealer. We're gonna mix it as a primer, but use it as a sealer here.
There you go, sir. So now Dylan's getting ready to do what he was telling you out there. He's going to be laying down some Bulldog adhesion promoter. So as you guys at home can see, the bare metal up here after it was prepped. So we're gonna want to spot seal that stuff. This way we don't have any issues later on down the road, because you can't just shoot bed liner to bare metal. So we'll use a DTM sealer to spot seal over the bare metal, and then we'll start mixing up our bed liner and shooting our bed liner. We got our Raptor coating in here. We got everything spot sealed, fully sealed, Bulldog, all that stuff. One thing very, very important, just like a shake weight, make sure you shake the hell out of this, because you're basically adding catalyst to this, which we'll show you how we mix all that later. So another thing that I want to talk about is putting a regulator on your gun. When you order a kit, you usually get one of these with every kit. The reason why I like to use a regulator is because I can control the droplet size, the texture, how it looks. I like a bigger droplet, a bigger texture. It looks more, to me, it looks more like a professional job than the old school like Zolatone or like that real thin layer. Some guys like that thin layer. The thicker it is, it also helps hide stuff. Like for instance, when you do bed liner underneath the vehicle and you've done patch panel repair and you've gone in and seam sealed stuff and made it look real nice. If you do a nice thicker coat, it kind of blends it all together and makes it go away, and just looks a lot nicer than like a thinner coat. But anyway, you can do whatever you want to do. This is my wife's Hummer, and she likes the thick coat, so we're gonna lay it on her. 2 more things. Always wear a mask with this stuff, and if you can afford a suit, put on a suit, because this stuff gets pretty messy. It's pretty sticky. And I don't like it on me, so I can't imagine anybody else wanting them either. So very important 2 things, a mask and a suit before you spray this stuff. We're gonna get right into it. Fresh out of the booth, we just got done bedlining the roof. At the moment we are prepping all the side trim to bedline all that, bumpers, etc. So while we're doing that, I went ahead and masked it all up today so that I could begin a 3-step buff. Going to do a compound wool pad, then a white foam pad, then a black foam pad with polish to bring this thing back to its original shine. You can see just how the paint's kind of faded. It looks like it's been washed a gazillion times, and they didn't dry it all the way maybe. But if you look here at the quarter panel, you can see kind of the difference. I took an old compound pad to start with, so it wasn't as aggressive as a brand new one or a wool pad, but not as soft as a black foam pad. You can see the quarter panel. Maybe you can see that stuff on the door right in there. That's kind of the stuff we're looking to get rid of. But this is what the pad looks like. Just an older pad, beat up. But this way it won't be so aggressive on this OEM paint and rip through it. So the second pad that we're going to use is this black foam pad. We're going to polish it now. We've compounded the whole side. Got it basically as good as it's going to get for the condition of the paint. So our next step is going to be to hit it with some polish and take out the swirls from the compound. Genuinely you want to work like a small area, maybe like a foot by foot, I guess I'd say. Definitely gives it a much better look than it had before. So while Mr. Slaps over here is getting the door panels together, or shall I say the mirrors and the door handles on the Hummer, I'm getting all the stuff out here that's already meticulously labeled for like our taillight bolts, for the handles, and everything else we've taken off the rear bumper, which is super important in putting things back together. Something that if you don't do, you should do. All right, so we got the Hummer out of the shop. We're out here checking it out. We got all the plastics restored. We wanted to give it more of a rugged look than the OEM or factory look that it had when it was new. All this stuff needed to be restored. This is something you guys can definitely do at home. It could be on your Chevy, it could be on your Ford, it could be on your Hummer. It doesn't really matter what it's on, but you can, basically restore your plastics by pulling them apart, sanding them all down, and coating them with Raptor. This is something that we wanted to do. We did this once before. We liked the way it looked, so we decided to do it again on this Hummer. And just super happy with the way it came out, and just really pumped for it. Go check out the website. We got merch for sale, hats, different shirts, some of our past projects on there. We got some great upcoming videos that are under the works now. We got SEMA coming up. We're bringing the cameras with us there. We got Dino's Get Down. We got our open house, and we got a ton of projects in the shop that we haven't even showed you guys yet that we've been working on. So like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.
Pumped, man.
Is this like pimped my ride?
No,
Tell us how you really feel.
I'm pretty stoked.
She's pretty stoked, people. She's pretty stoked.
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 All of the sealer is going to go all over. Give it an even substrate.
Take 27. Me and my wife, Jacqueline. So we got my wife's Hummer down here at the shop. So we got my wife's Hummer in the booth. So I got my wife's Hummer. Anyhow, we're back. Take 6, take 100. Possibly paint and correction too. We'll see. Fucked that up again. We got the roof's bed lined. Some of the other shit's bed lined. For some reason, I just can't talk today.